And we're back. Welcome to the 4 Mile Circus Podcast. 4 Mile Circus Podcast is a project of 4 Mile Circus, a media services company in Brooklyn, New York.
He laughed that time because he messed up in the first go.
What's always the last 2 times we recorded on the second episode, because we always record 2 episodes in a row, I have screwed up the intro on both the second time, but not the first time.
Also, I have a question. If this is the second episode, do we have to pretend it's 6 months later? Because that's when you're going to air it, like 6 months later.
They're all 2 weeks apart.
Okay. So, oh my God, the last 2 weeks, I've been doing everything you told me to do.
Haven't you been so successful?
I don't know yet.
Well, my name is Sean Mannion. I am half of 4 Mile Circus and one of the hosts of the show. And that was Lisa Hammer, one of our guests. Lisa Hammer and Levi Wilson, our guests. But who else do we have here?
I don't know, Sean. Who else do we have here?
Who are you?
I don't know. I just wandered in off the street. You guys seem nice.
On the surface.
Yeah. Wait till we get into the interview.
This is my partner.
I'm Nicole Solomon. I have a tip.
Ooh, she kept the tip.
She kept the tip.
Are you a moil?
Exactly. Thank God
And
she
here's
said
my
that.
collection of no.
Nah.
So Nicole has a
tips.
collection of tips.
When you rub it, it becomes a briefcase.
Oh.
Just heard that joke very recently.
Really?
For the,
Have you heard it before?
Yes, and I'll tell you why later, but
Hmm.
not on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Not on the podcast?
Not on the podcast. I'm not kidding. It's a story for not on the podcast.
It was a dark, rainy day in the elevator.
Something like that, kind of. What are we talking about?
You have a tip.
Oh yes, about crowdfunding.
Just a tip.
Just a tip.
And what is the tip?
It's 2 weeks later, so it's fresh. It's a fresh joke now.
About outreach. And now everything's very funny to me. That's what happens. Everything, even things that are really not like a double entendre at all. I'm just like, outreach. What could you reach for? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Hey, you said out.
Yeah, exactly. So, when you're planning your crowdfunding campaign, I'm just getting the tip instead. Just don't.
Yeah.
It's hard.
When I'm planning my
don't.
crowdfunding
It's
campaign,
hard.
This tip is hard.
Brought to you by diapers.com. Why do you have a diapers.com bag over the box in your house?
this was actually... What did I get in this?
Diapers.
No.
The best part is, like, on one side of the box there's a perambulator, and on another side of the box there's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. There's a silhouette of a pram on that side.
Yeah, and then there's,
if
like,
you go on the
laundry
other side,
detergent
like
and
flip
stuff.
it. Yeah, there's laundry detergent and toilet. There's another pram. Now, one more. Go one more side. There's a silhouette of a dog.
You
What
can't
the fuck?
see. You can't see this on the
What the
podcast.
Oh, these
fuck
are just
indeed.
advertising because it's
Wag.
It's wag.com. That's why we have it.
What's
We ha-
wag.com?
They sell you cat food.
Oh,
That
So-
makes
And other pet
sense.
products.
Wag.
I'm gonna go to wag.com.
Yeah,
That's why
so
it is- they're probably the same company. That's why they're both on the box.
confidential to wag.com and diapers.com if you'd like some more quality, plugs like that.
Yeah, go to Hair Club for Men.
Yeah, we're
So,
Wah, wah. So about that tip.
Yes, tips. Tell us what to do with outreach.
Well, a lot of people think for crowdfunding, like, oh, I'm just going to post on social media a lot. And you are going to post on social media a
You
lot.
naive fools.
Yes. Well,
If you were listening to the last episode.
you should know, you might think I could complete a sentence. I can't. Anyway, train of thought, get back on it. You are going to get more success with one-on-one outreach versus mass emails, mass postings. Like, send your mass emails, post on Facebook, post on Twitter, post on Instagram, do all of that. But the way you're really going to get people to open their wallets and give you their money is from talking to people one-on-one. So Facebook message people That's, send
Is
individual.
that a cut and paste, and then you have to message every single person that you know?
Yeah, and you really should personalize it if so like you add like at least a sentence at the top of that cut and paste that's a genuine like, hey Lisa, like, it was great seeing you last week at the thing and how,
And don't do it like the weird, like I get a lot of them where the personalizing part of it, it's clearly some app that they're using, and then they personalize the part to like something very intimate, like, hey Levi. That's it. And then paste.
Now, is there a company that can mass do that for you, or you have to just sit there for hours?
I think you need to sit there for hours. I'm sure there are people who you can pay to do that, but if it's going to be effective, it's probably for a price point you can afford if you're crowdfunding, unless you're one of those famous people with wealth who's crowdfunding for a ridiculously high amount of money. And then they're like, what's another thousands of dollars to pay somebody? You're probably not going to be able to afford someone who can do it well. So yeah, it's you sitting for hours. And a thing we always tell people is crowdfunding is like a full-time job while you're doing it. It's not you set up your internet storefront and the money comes rolling in. You have to be on Facebook messaging 25 people a day. Try not to do more than that because you might get kicked off for a few days, which is a problem if you're in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
So like make a spreadsheet. Go through it, color code it like I did in terms of like how badly you don't want to ask a given person for money, and like ask the easier people first, and maybe leave the people in your family who you do not think you can reach out to about your project for the end, and things like that.
Also, doing those small things every day is a lot more effective than trying to like force yourself to do like a huge number of mailers or a huge number of like contact lists. As far because you're just going to burn yourself out
absolutely
in that first day, and then you don't have anything left for like the next several weeks of crowdfunding. Yeah,
you need to wait till halfway through your campaign when you're not on track for your goal the way you had been hoping to be in order to burn out, and be awake all night every night and just be like, I'm not going to make the money, I'm not going to be able to do the thing. Crowdfunding's hard, guys, but yeah, but Facebook messaging is one good way to do that. You can send personal emails. If there's somebody you think is potentially a big ticket donor, like you actually know someone who has real money, you might want to reach out to them in person, take them out for coffee, pitch them on your project, or if you have someone else affiliated with the project or a friend of yours who knows someone who might be willing to give you money, have them take you out, or the two of you meet with them together. Like do some personal.
It's very fast. Like Lisa and I have done this, and it works. Like people want to know that they're involved with what you're doing, and that you appreciate them on a person-to-person level.
Yes.
And, that they're helping you to help you make something that they might not even necessarily directly benefit from.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that you need them.
Right.
Yeah.
People like to feel needed, and people like to feel helpful, and make sure they feel that way. Just being like, hey, I'm doing a thing, give me money. Like people don't give, that's not how people give money.
Right.
They don't even give money so much because your project is so good. A couple people will, but mostly it's about that personal feeling. It's people give emotionally. It's the same way people give to charity. Like this is kind of fundraising 101. People don't give rationally.
Right. They're not giving to your project. They're giving to you.
Yeah.
So it's not that they don't necessarily believe in your project. They believe in you.
In you. Yeah.
And that's the thing that you need to focus
you.
on
Yeah.
and understand, which is why in the last episode we talked about how networking, like actually being out there and like talking to people so that you can get people to like relate to you and understand that you are a valuable blah, 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 whatever it is that you're doing, artist, inventor, like entrepreneur, whatever.
Right. And out in a live situation like that, people get swept into the momentum of it as well. Yeah. So in the old days when you would play with your band and people get swept into it, you could sell so much merchandise live. But trying to sell it online is a whole different story. So I agree. Yeah. One-on-one is always going to be the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's my tip of the episode.
Just a tip. Hashtag just a tip.
Just a tip with Nicole Solomon.
But that also leads into the conversation we were just having, leads into
amazing.
What the topic of this particular episode is. You guys have done ton of stuff. You were just talking about bands and and selling merch.
Yeah.
And you got stage shows, and you got web series, and you got movie films, and you've been involved in other people's movie films.
What a masterful segue.
It's true.
I'm a master of the segue. But I'm not so good about changing topics. So you've done all these different kinds of projects. How the hell do you raise funds to make them? Because none of them can be done without something. Like a guitar costs money, for example, and then film is just ridiculously expensive.
Well, I think we just covered that on the Just the Tip episode. So next question, please.
We've done Kickstarter, we've done Indiegogo, we've done GoFundMe. I think we're gonna do Seed and Spark next.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing.
But we tend to have really fun incentives. Like for the Sisters plots, we needed money to film our final pie fight. So one of the gifts was we will scream your name out when we throw a pie.
That's great.
People loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it.
Can I say, okay, so this is going to sound fucking retarded and ridiculous and obvious, but a great way to get your project funded is by making a lot of money, right? I mean, it seems really dumb, but that's one thing that helped us get going for our last web series was just that we happened to make a lot of money that year, and so we used a portion of that, I don't want to say windfall because we worked our asses off for it,
Right.
but we used a portion of that to get the initial production going, and it really, to add crowdfunding. If we didn't have the money to do the crowdfunding, we would have started 6 months to a year later, But because we had that in the bank, and we were just like, well, then let's just do it now, while we have it, so that we don't accidentally spend it on something else like rent, and
Who needs that?
Yeah.
Who needs my landlady? That's who needs it.
right. So I mean, as ridiculous as that sounds, seriously, you could just as easily get a job.
Well, no, it helps.
yeah.
It helps. You know
Yeah.
why? It helps you get through your shit job because you're like, oh, I'm doing this for a reason.
Right.
Everything I make is going to the production, so I'm gonna have a good attitude here
Right.
as I do this stupid dumb shit.
And as much as because the work that you put into crowdfunding is just as intense as if you were to just kind of get some job. I mean, if you have some skill that's marketable and that you can sit there and go, okay, well, I know I can get paid so much money doing this thing, and I can just do that for a year, versus a 6-month crowdfunding thing, because crowdfunding can take time as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
It
I mean,
should.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a job.
So prepare to not sleep ever. There's no
Right.
sleep, because you're doing your shit job and then you're doing the crowdfunding on top of it, and there's just no sleep.
Yeah. So
But you get your project done.
or inherit a lot of money.
Oh, that would be great.
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Right. Be rich.
Help those sick family members along
Absolutely,
to peace.
Yes.
Because
But
they're
only
suffering.
The ones that have assets, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just
Not-
any of them.
Not the ones that love you because they're kind and sweet, but
Yeah,
the ones
yeah.
who,
That's a given. Yeah.
The ones who have favorites and make a point of putting that in their will. Make
Yeah.
sure
Be the favorite.
you're the favorite. Yes, exactly.
Befriend other elderly people who maybe don't have,
Exactly.
younger loved ones. Maybe they don't have
I have a name for
grandchildren,
you.
and you could.
Max Bialystock.
Exactly.
I see.
Set it up to fail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Exactly. Set it up to fail. It's perfect.
Right.
It's an infallible plan.
Infallible.
I think about this
You
all
don't
the
have to
time.
pay back
Yeah.
any of your investors.
Exactly.
That's actually how Hollywood works.
That really is how
I
Hollywood
got
works.
it.
Quiet as it's kept. Actually,
I'm sorry, we didn't make any profit, so
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
get your back end.
Guys, Empire Strikes Back has never made any money.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for them.
I know.
Poor 20th Century Fox.
No, yeah. Well,
And now Disney.
Yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
just
Oh,
got
forget
that
it. That's
albatross around its neck.
That's a
Oh,
money
man.
pit. My God.
Yeah.
because you put it on a slate with Waterworld, and then you're
Oh.
like, oh, what?
Oh, yeah, I can see how
Sorry,
they
it
lost
didn't
money.
happen.
Okay.
Totally.
All right, well,
Our
I-
slate didn't make money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What are you gonna do? Everything just lost. It's a losing proposition.
Sorry about your back end.
I do love when I was looking for jobs way back on like indie film stuff where people would be like, and then you can get a percentage of the profits later. And even then I was just kind of like, that's not a thing.
It's not a thing. Ever.
Fuck you.
It's not a thing.
It's like, as a PA, I'm going to get a 1%.
Right.
I'm going to get 1% of your profits of nothing for your movie that nobody's going to see.
Right.
Okay, that was maybe a little bit mean, but let's be honest.
Well, you didn't.
Most of us
specify
are not
anybody.
watching these indie films that we ourselves are trying to make.
Yeah.
Like, we're not watching each other. Like, I mean, I've seen Christina Reyes' film, but that's because she's a cool kid, and you got to do what you gotta suck up to the cool kids.
Yeah. I think we can. Let's be honest here. Like, a lot of these crowdfunding campaigns for these short films are literally like, friends and family, please give me money so that I can practice making a film.
Yeah,
I think one of the more successful ones I've seen and been involved in recently in 2014 was my half brother James Marandino made a film called SLC Punk, and then in 2014 he decided to make the sequel, and he already had the fame built in from the first movie and the fans, so he was so smart. He and actually his girlfriend Severine is a marketing genius, and she appealed to the punk rockers that loved the first film, and then went outward toward more punk rock kids and pulled in all this punk crowd. And then one of the incentives was you give a certain amount of money and that buys you a ticket to the punk show in Salt Lake City. You get to be an extra in the movie and see some amazing bands on stage. And then you get this little wristband to get you into the show. And all these punks came from all over the country and they had the time of their lives. And it was like the most memorable thing. And they raised the money they needed. It was incredible.
If you want to see pictures of that, follow me on Instagram at Levi is Evil.
Levi's in the movie, and I edited the movie. It's on Netflix now, so you can watch Punk's Dead. And that was crowdfunded. It's incredible.
Partially, though, right? 'Cause
Mostly,
mostly, but they did have initial angel investors.
They had one angel investor, but they did most of it through Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.
Was it Indiegogo?
Yeah, it was Indiegogo, and then Indiegogo took a liking to the project and put it on the front page.
Right,
and
sure.
they like actually met with the guy that ran Indiegogo because he was a fan of the film.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot too.
And that's one of those ones that kind of plays a little bit into what Levi was saying last time. It was like, you kind of already have to be a little famous.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the movie already was, because it's a sequel to an already popular movie.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, and it's helpful to do that. And it's not, I think sometimes there's like an instinct for some of us. I certainly do it sometimes, where somebody who's already got an established thing like goes into the crowdfunding field, and you're like, "Fuck you, man! You can't do that. That's cheating." Because you feel like it's like you're like, this is my little narrow space in the world. And like, there's some degree to which it's like, can we not talk that much about Zach Braff being successful at this? Because what we should talk more about is when they're spectacularly unsuccessful, and they shouldn't be. And it's like, what did they do wrong? Not what did they do right. What they did right was they just were like, hey, I was on a popular sitcom, or hey, I'm LeVar Burton and everybody loves me because I'm so fucking lovable.
Right.
So of course you're gonna bring that money in.
Did they ever do that Reading Rainbow?
I think so.
Yeah.
Where is that?
I think so.
I wanted to see that.
Didn't they do it for like schools mostly?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because I remember that was really successful, and he was like crying, and I was like, yes. But I was like, I want to see it.
The thing about those is that they're not actually doing it that much differently than anybody else is.
Absolutely not.
But they're just famous already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing I liked about Punk's Dead that Severine did, she organized the hell out of the fans. They were kind of scattered before, but she made a Punk's Dead, like James Marandino pub group on Facebook, and they post all day. It doesn't have always to do with the movie, but they post punk funny things, or
Right.
They post all day long. They engage the audience. That's one thing she said, is engage your audience. Make them involved somehow. Make them have to respond to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it brings people in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I mean, it helps to have either like that movie to start with, or even just being like, okay, punk music, and some specific thing to focus on, and then you can get them to talk about anything else,
Because she really promotes the idea that you have to ask them about themselves.
Yes.
Which we all know that everybody works on ego. So if you get people to personalize or involve themselves or somehow talk about themselves, it helps like 100-fold.
Right. It's literally the only reason Lisa and I are here right now.
Because
Talk about you.
Because like I was like, hey, let's talk about you guys. But yeah, no, I mean that's absolutely true. One of the hardest parts of that for some of us, for me specifically, is that I don't always think of that because I kind of don't care. So because I'm a bad person, like I'm like, no, I want you to support my thing. I know you have a life and you have other stuff, and I should care. And I'm not saying like I'm actively not caring. It's like a totally genuine, like I did not think of it.
Right.
Yeah, but engage them. You know,
I need to
even
do
like
that,
personalize things like when you put your name on something like the stupid license plate, those things sold millions because it's like people talking about themselves and and like what do you like? What are you into? And like sometimes they put on questions like what band are you into? Go. It's like people talk about themselves and then they all get into like discussions and arguments and it just generates a buzz.
Which is the whole reason why social media took off in the first place. It's not because, we want to hear what our friends are up to so much as we want to talk about what we're up to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing that. So if we just manipulate everybody into doing that to do what we want.
Right.
Talk about yourself.
Right
and
here.
Give me money.
Yeah. So that I would say that's my number one tip.
Yeah.
It's a good tip.
We're full of
The
tips.
best
It's a
tip.
big round tip.
Filled with tips.
Engorged.
Engorged with tips.
Somehow make it about them.
I think we're just gonna retitle these 2 episodes the 4 Mile Dick Joke.
Yeah. Throbbing 4 mile. Yeah. Throbbing 4 mile.
We might get more listeners that way.
We might.
Hey, everyone who's listening, tell us something about yourself.
Yes, do
Go.
tell us something about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're listening.
We're listening. Go.
I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, so many cat pictures.
You were so creative.
Oh my
That's
God.
gross.
You're beautiful.
That's gross. You should be ashamed of that.
What do you think about this? Oh.
No, I definitely see. I definitely see your point of view. I like,
It's good. That's good. It was a good feedback session.
Yeah.
It was a good feedback session. I feel like I learned.
I feel closer to all our listeners.
Yeah.
I
Some
feel-
of you too close. You need to stop listening.
Exactly.
I feel closer to death.
Oh.
This is your best episode ever.
I know.
It is.
It kind of is.
You're welcome.
I'm just like, we're
Sorry,
just gonna have
Christina
Lisa. We're just gonna have. Well, I mean, we spread her out over like 4 episodes.
Oh,
so.
wow.
Oh my God, you guys really like just sprayed all over her.
No, we really like her though.
No, I do. I like her a
Well,
lot.
it's good that you say that because I think she's one of the few people that we know definitely listens to every episode.
God damn it. She's thorough.
She's the,
But we're already on the
good.
just the tip jokes and all that stuff. And then you said anyway.
anyway. So yeah, so it's a good point that
What was the point?
that listening to
appealing-
people and
yes,
appealing
yes.
to what their interest is. It's what's effective, and it's as opposed to because especially with and this kind of gets into a little bit of what I want to talk to about next is like this whole thing, like not just crowdfunding, but any kind of fundraising for any sort of art project has evolved over the years. And do you think that it's gotten to be like how has it changed for you guys?
It's so oversaturated now that I kid you not, I get 1, 2, 3 requests in my messenger every day for fellow filmmakers wanting me to donate to their project, and I can't donate to everyone's project. So, and I feel like I've done so many fundraisers myself that we need to move on to the next level because I can't ask the same people for money again.
Well,
Yeah.
and here's like the problem for people who are fundraising is that I don't know if I think this is the problem that a lot of people have is that we're very insulated in who we give ourselves access to, right? So we're friends with other filmmakers, we're friends with other artists, we're friends with other musicians and things like that. But we're all like independent artists, right? And I'm sure the same thing happens in other industries as well. So it's like, a programmer who wants to start, a new piece of software that they want to innovate and they need something, are going to be friends with other programmers who are doing the same thing. So those are people, you're asking other people who are looking for crowdfunding or any kind of funding for funding, right?
Yeah.
So
You're just gonna be trading money back and forth with
Right.
the same people.
Yeah, the difference with programmers is there's a lot more money over there.
right, that's true. But
There's
not
a lot
for
more
all of
venture
them.
capital going into
Right, but
that
see-
sort
But
of
not
thing.
But
for
venture
all, getting that
capitalists-
money. Like that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right, but see, venture capitalists are a whole different thing. So it's like we could, as artists, if we have enough, clout or enough, like, a good EPK or whatever, go to like an angel investor or, petition for like some venture, like VC or something like that to, give to a particular, project that we're doing and then offer them some sort of return, based on like what our popularity is and what our social media following, blah blah blah, and that's exactly what is some like a Silicon Valley guy is doing. So they're not going within their network; they're still going outside of or establishing like a network of people that are outside of their own personal industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to a VC, you're not going to another programmer. That VC might be a programmer, maybe that's why he's got a shit ton of money, right? But he has established himself with a network of other VCs that are looking for investment opportunities. So, that's exactly where it's beneficial for, like we were saying in the last episode 2 weeks ago, that you pound the pavement and that you don't just rely on, social media, and you go and talk to people. And really, I guess this is the thing that we didn't hit on last time, was that you don't just talk to other people who are looking for money, right? Go talk to people that you don't know about, because you never know, who that person is connected to and who that person might, you might talk to some, guy at some party that doesn't seem like he cares about any, like, he could just be like some accountant or something like that. And, he likes you, but then that guy just happens to know this, a guy who is like, oh, you know what? I know this guy who, has $1 million and he likes to throw money at like really cool projects. And these guys are really cool.
Happy hour,
Right.
Wall Street happy hour.
And then that guy is pitching you as yourself to another guy with money, which goes back to you're pitching yourself. You're not pitching your project. He likes you because you're cool or whatever.
Trustworthy.
You're trustworthy. You seem like you've got something going. So he can say that and vouch for you and not your project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very rare that you're selling your project. You're selling your project in the
true.
sense that like you're telling people that you have something going on, and that you're not just some schlub who is hoping that a bunch of people will just give you money because why shouldn't I deserve to get money? You don't deserve to get money.
I deserve to get money, Levi. I deserve that money.
Right.
Look at how much hair I've grown.
You have to do it the old-fashioned way.
It's
You
true.
have
He
to
has grown a
earn
lot of
it.
hair since I've known him.
You have to do it the old-fashioned way and earn it.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when I've crowdfunded, the biggest donors were not like artist friends of mine
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
at all. They were people somehow I got connected to who had funds, usually not or if they worked in the arts, they worked at like a much higher level than where
Right.
I'm at.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, and it is that thing of like, I believe in you. You seem like you're going somewhere, and like getting this project done is a step towards, it's investing in your career.
Right.
It's not about the individual film or album or whatever it is.
Because they want you to succeed. Because if it's just that singular project, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you'll figure out how to make that project successful, but that's not the only thing that you're going to do. Like if they feel like that's your opus and that's the one thing that you're going to do, and then you're just going to fade off into obscurity, who fucking cares?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's
point.
because they feel like you have a lot of really cool ideas and a lot of potential to be a major player for the long haul, for your career. So
Yeah, it's like, this kid's going somewhere. I want
Right.
to like get in on this on the ground
Exactly.
floor.
Right.
They'll have a favor in like 10 years when you're when you're making a lot of money, making, whatever, romantic comedies, I think in about 20 years, that's going to be the big moneymaker.
I think so.
People are going to be tired of superhero movies. It's going to be romantic comedies.
Big budget action romantic comedies.
Exactly.
With
exactly.
Yeah.
Zombies, sure. Because zombies always come back.
Yeah.
They always come back.
do.
They never die.
Looking at you, Michael Bay.
But yeah, Michael Bay is going to start making romantic comedies. Anyway,
my God.
so like when you're the biggest romantic comedy filmmaker in 20 years, that person is going to come to you and be like, there's this person that I want to sleep with that you're putting in your movie. Remember when
Yeah.
I funded you earlier?
Yeah.
And then you say yes.
Remember when I gave you $125?
That entitles me to
And you gave me
Full
a
access.
T-shirt.
Inflation.
full access.
Full access.
Full access.
I want to sleep with this dude, so he is your romantic lead.
Not just a tip.
Yeah.
It all boils down to that. It all boils down to sex, I think.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
So
hope you've
what
learned
it comes
something.
down to in crowdfunding is, on some level, you're selling, yourself, and on some level, sex. Not necessarily with yourself, but maybe helping somebody else get laid later.
yeah.
Titulation.
Exactly.
you're saying.
Exactly. It's a big part of it. So keep that in mind with your sales pitch when you go to bars
Right, exactly.
to get Wall Street guys to give you money.
I'm picturing our listeners like taking notes and trying to put these into practice. They're like, okay.
Yeah. With like big question marks next to each one.
What?
No, it's like I knew this woman I worked with who's an amazing artist named Darcy. All she did was hit the pavement and go from networking to networking. She'd go to the Wall Street bar. She got us an investor for one of my movies, Empire of Ache, by meeting these two Wall Street CEOs at a happy hour, and they decided to become her slaves. So they were paying her to be their mistress, and that money went to the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, her full-time job was hitting the pavement and trying to like get new people to like her work and to like, invest in what we were doing. And she would just go from place to place.
Now,
Live shows, you could sell your...
That's a special kind of hustle that not everyone is capable of doing, but Darcy is.
Yeah,
She's
she's
really amazing
good.
that way. Yeah.
amazing at it. She's very extroverted, and she is a performer at heart. Everywhere she goes, she performs and then sells all her stuff at the show. It's very old school.
But, it's everyone has the ability to network, right?
Yeah.
You just have to decide to do it. And it's not comfortable. And it's definitely not comfortable for everyone. But if you're going to be a fucking artist, then you're going to have to fucking do it.
Yeah.
I mean, as we said that in the last episode 2 weeks ago.
No, it's
that
true.
we're all introverts here. And we all, nobody... Like, we don't necessarily want to go out and talk to people, but
It's so hard.
No,
This
the
is
thing
what
I
least
want to do.
right. But we want to do
But it's
this.
the thing we most need to do.
Yeah, the thing that you have to do. We've decided to be in a very gregarious, field.
Right. And then the social media has to supplement it, where it's funny because a lot of people will sell you on their company saying, like, we're going to increase your sales by you signing up for our website. And it's like,
No, you're
it
not.
doesn't pan out. It's a lie.
It's always, and I think it's something that we've taken into practice with our own thing, is we don't sit there and say like, hey, like if you hire us to consult for you or to manage your stuff, you're suddenly going to be like Kanye.
Right.
Right.
You're not going to be Kanye. We're not going to make you Kanye. That's not going to happen.
Because you're honest. Most companies
Exactly.
aren't.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of our selling point. Our is just we're coming to people and we're saying, look, this is hard. Whether we're doing it or we're teaching you how to do it, this is going to be hard and it's work. If you want to build these things, it's work. And I mean, we mostly handle the social media side of things. We're not going out to bars networking for people. Although we could maybe offer that as a new service in
Oh
the
my
future.
God, no.
Let's just go to the bar.
That's
It's just our clients are paying for us to go to the bar.
true, and we're not guaranteeing results.
We
We're
can't-
just like
right,
we
you
will go
can't guarantee
network on your
results.
behalf.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're not saying we're going to talk to anybody. While
Just
we're
remember
there.
that you can't deduct alcohol.
Can't write
We're
it
just
off.
gonna put it under whatever we're charging them. It's gonna
Right.
make sure it
Okay.
covers that.
So make that
So
a line item.
this is gonna be a very expensive thing because we're
Right.
both heavy drinkers, and we both like our whiskey. But it's I think it's always a red flag when anybody says that we're gonna make you successful. Like that
Yes.
thing it's like whenever somebody says like, oh, this thing, it's gonna be the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, or when for some reason they're like, well, we have a new website where we're serving up videos and, you know, we're gonna be the YouTube of, you know, lesbians or something like that. And it's like, YouTube is the YouTube of lesbians.
Yeah.
YouTube is the YouTube of everything that could a YouTube be.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
nobody's coming to your
yeah.
website for that.
No,
Right.
if it's porn, then you go to, Pornhub,
Pornhub
or one
or
of
whatever,
the,
yeah.
and
The hub for porn.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It's in the
Which are yeah.
Because YouTube doesn't let you have like real porn,
Right.
so that's
Exactly.
why porn needs to go someplace else. But everything else,
Exactly. And YouTube has fully monopolized all of this. Because I remember, like, we had a friend of ours who, this is a digression, but it's a fun one.
It's good.
A friend who worked for, remember Adam Films?
Yes, I remember Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put my films up there a long time
Exactly.
ago, and nothing happened.
And that came out, that was like kind of with YouTube, and Adam Films was like
Mm-hmm.
the kind of like the guy that was like, oh, this is going to be the one where we can, filmmakers can put our short films up and get everything seen. And then,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it got bought out by Comedy Central, or the company that owns Comedy Central.
that's right, yeah.
And then they shut it down
They
to do
buried
their
it.
own little thing, and then that failed because
Right.
there was. I worked on a project where we did like a couple episodes of a web series, and then the director he worked at Comedy Central, and then he was like he had a desk next to the Adam Films guy, for like 2 months or something like that, and they were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we can give you guys some money to do a trailer to see if maybe people will to see if maybe people are interested in you doing like the web series on Adam Films, which is now part of Comedy Central. And so they gave us not very much money to do a trailer for the show where we reshot like a bunch of stuff that we shot for the other episodes, and then it just disappeared, and it was just done. It's like nothing happened. They never really
Yeah.
followed up with. And I was pretty involved partly because I also had to do like all the music clearance stuff, like, and I was like going through like that, what is it, ASCAP or something like that, going like, so you guys want these similar sounding things
for no money.
for no money, or it was like already covered under contract Comedy Central had or something like that. So I had to do all the paperwork. So I was like, okay, these are the things we're using. Cool. This paperwork thing is sort of a pain in the ass, but okay.
wow.
It's
Well,
confusing.
one of the sites that I was told would really help with get my films out there was VHX. So we spent money, paid to upload our films, and then I'm trying to share the links with people to go watch, and they're saying it's so difficult to get on, and you can't even see what's on there until you subscribe to.
Oh, is that like somebody's?
It's that
somebody's
Vimeo
set up a-
subsidiary.
I think it's like a monthly.
And we use VHX for selling stuff. but
Right.
We're very direct. We
I don't quite know how to use it yet. We have our films up there now, and
Okay.
they keep saying like, "Do you want to start selling?" And I'm like, "I don't know how," because I put the link out and nobody can figure out how to use it.
You should reach out to their support people because they were super helpful every
Okay.
time that
they are pretty responsive. So
Yeah.
just,
they're
you know.
very. I think the VHX isn't so much like a place that's gonna. It's not like YouTube where you like upload stuff and then people can find it and stuff. It's more like a platform for you to be able to create your own sort of like store for
Right,
your digital video.
Right.
We're just not good at that.
Yeah.
No, I mean it takes a little bit of like
Yeah.
time, and I feel like to really use like your VHX like URL for it or whatever properly, like you have to invest some time in like designing it and stuff
Right.
like that
Yeah.
because their out of the box stuff is sort of designed for specific projects, doesn't always work for your own, but it's worked very well for us for Small Talk.
Okay.
Nicole's film, which we have been selling through it, but we sell it like through our website. Like we just have like a link because we have a WordPress website, and you can. And there's a
that's-
that's what
plugin
we should
for
do.
it,
Yeah.
and then the plugin is just like you click it, and the purchase screen comes up.
Okay.
And VHX does have like a Roku app, and
gotta
I think they have
figure
an
this
Apple
all
TV
out.
app and stuff, which is I think is important for like streaming. Like you have to have if you're
definitely.
doing like streaming stuff. I think 20-year-olds maybe watch stuff on their laptop still. The rest of us are like, I want it on my TV.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
done.
My
We're
TV.
done with laptop viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to stream stuff on my TV and watch the porn on my laptop while I'm streaming stuff on the TV.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Multitasking. Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. I can't just watch one thing at a time.
Right. I don't have time for that.
What are we? Is this like 1980s again or something?
Right.
It's like 1984 all over again, man. Georgia Orwell was right, only watching one thing at a
Georgia
time.
Orwell.
Yeah, that was a lot.
After
right
Georgia
in there.
Orwell O'Keefe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trans
Talking
Orwell.
about the old days, I was talking to somebody about how we used to make so much money selling our VHSs, our DVDs, our CDs, our vinyl, like selling physical products, whereas people are pirating and stealing everything that I'm doing digitally because you can't hold it in your hand. It's just digital.
Except 2016, vinyl outsold digital.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Outsold, but how
But
much
yeah.
digital was stolen?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Or just stream.
or just stream.
Yeah.
Are they counting the streaming? Or are they just counting it? Or are they just doing the apples to apples sort of?
The
That's
thing
a good
is,
question.
well,
My
also,
research
like,
has been lacking.
and also, if you're going to sell physical products, you have to have a show where people get all whipped up and like
Right.
want to buy your stuff, because I can sell my physical things online, but I don't get that much traffic. I don't get that many people whipped into a frenzy. Who can even find me. So if you're doing a show, they're all there. They're a captive audience. They're there to see you.
Yeah.
You know, I used to make so much money selling stuff at shows.
You know what would be kind of fun is to do almost like a show, like a band show, but like for filmmakers, like show a couple films and stuff like that, but tell everybody to bring merch.
Yeah.
You know, bring DVDs, bring like, you've got like the Maybe Sunshine DVDs and sell them. Bring them to sell them.
Right.
For like $5 a pop or something.
Maybe we should do
Kind of not a
something
bad
like that
idea.
in the future.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, because the last time I sold a whole bunch of stuff was at the Florida Comic-Con when I had a booth.
Yeah.
And people were just there. They have money. So, but then you got to, I was asked as a guest to do it. But if you wanted to rent a booth, it's a lot of money. That's, again, another investment.
Yeah.
So, but there you are live, doing the ground game. And it's like, how do you do that if you only have stuff online?
Yeah, exactly. Are there conventions for filmmakers? There's not conventions for filmmakers. It's just like comic book conventions that have been like
thriller kind of
genre.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a
stuff.
horror.
There's
yeah.
horror conventions
Yeah,
that are
Yeah.
film focused.
Yeah.
but not necessarily like, hey, we're a bunch of indie filmmakers. Everybody bring your shit and let's have conversations about film.
Yeah.
Beyond just like general pop culture.
I think
I don't know.
A couple of the kind of like horror film people at the Florida one, Comic-Con, the Shock Pop or whatever it was, like said that we'd probably do okay at one of the like the thriller one.
Thriller or Dragon Con or something like
Yeah.
that.
Totally.
But there isn't anything. There's either a film festival where you don't really bring I think I had a booth at one film festival in Olympia
Right.
because I had a one-woman show. But, if you're just a small film and part of a whole thing, like why would you have a booth and you'd have to rent the booth?
But it's really-
I don't think anyone's combined that with a Comic-Con type thing.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of like peripherally in there,
Yeah. It's always like an add-on to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like another thing. Even a horror film festival is almost it usually has a lot to do with, or not film festival, horror con.
Right.
It has a lot to do with film, but like sort of almost incidentally.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
we're fans of horror. The way we mostly consume that is through film. But like, what if there was one that was just like indie film people, and it's like you come and you sell your stuff, and we screen some people's things, and we have a couple of panels, and
The only one I know of is the AFM, the American Film Market in
Right. Yeah.
in
But it's a
Hollywood.
film
right,
market.
yeah.
But you have to pay so much money to get involved in that. Yeah,
And this is just
that's the
That's
only
the
one I
thing.
know.
We're gonna put on indie filmmaker con
Film
dot
con.
com.
Filmcom.
Yeah, it's gonna cost people a lot of money to come,
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna keep it all and then cancel the thing.
Okay.
But they'll get wristbands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll get wristbands.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
And,
And
lanyards.
Yay.
Jinx, motherfucker.
Well, on the topic of lanyards, would you guys like to play another game?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Except for the
That's good,
topic
'cause
is
I
again
feel like-
literature.
I feel like this was a very intense episode of the 4 Mile Circus podcast. So we should lighten it up.
It was very
Do you need to
Herzogian.
breathe? We
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
We can.
It's a very Herzogian episode.
That's right.
And now we will
And now
play
we
the
will
game.
A game with no meaning.
It would end in misery.
There will only be misery.
It is the closing of the episode.
And so we play Uncle Sean's literary trivia.
I'm ready for the questions.
Question number 1.
Juan.
Which author is often credited as the inventor of the science fiction genre? A.
Can I just say
Isaac
it?
Asimov. B. H.G. Wells. C. Mary Shelley. Or D. None of the above.
Oh, shit. Which one came first?
See, I was going to just say Arthur C. Clarke, but that's probably not correct.
Did you say science fiction or horror?
Science fiction.
Science
Science
fiction.
fiction genre.
Although Frankenstein is kind of science
It is
fiction.
science fiction,
Right,
and that
but-
predates
It predates the other ones.
the H.G. Wells and Jules Verne.
But did it create a movement of science fiction literature?
I'm gonna
It's
go
not
with
necessarily
D.
create a movement, but
But
just
first.
just like
I would almost
basically created the genre.
But if it's Mary Shelley, it would almost be like posthumously given because I don't think anybody.
I don't think people see you're opening a can of worms here,
Yeah.
Sean, because I feel like she is not widely credited as that, but
No.
perhaps should be.
But should be. Oh.
Let's start it now. I'm going to
Mary
say Mary
Shelley.
Shelley.
You can say there's two.
I'm saying D, none of the above, because I think it's.
It was Mary Shelley.
Oh,
Yeah. We
I mean-
forced it.
I mean-
we forced it.
It just to be clear, like this isn't like a fair game or anything like that. You're guessing as much what I think the answer is
Yeah.
as it is what an actual answer might be.
Oh, okay.
wait. So
Which is going to be important for the next question.
So it's not who's widely. I mean, she may be widely credited with that. I'm not trying to say she's not, but is it more like Sean credits?
Perhaps.
Okay, so
now we
Or
gotta
I
get-
have seen often credited as the creator of
So
the
now we
science
got to get
fiction
into
genre.
your head.
Yeah, especially for this next one.
Okay.
This next one's going to be really hard. I'm not sure it's going to be obvious what the answer is. So number 2, who actually wrote Shakespeare's plays? A. William Shakespeare, obviously. B. Queen Elizabeth. C. Christopher Marlowe. D. At this point, the question of authorship is purely academic, and whether it was William Shakespeare or
D.
another person or group of persons who authored the plays, their impact and our understanding of them remains largely the same. Well, in the end, whoever wrote the plays, they will always remain Shakespeare's plays. Do you want me to read those again?
No. D.
Christopher Marlowe.
And the answer was D.
You just had to be different.
Because fuck Shakespeare, man. He's so
True,
overrated.
man. All right. So, which well-known female author wrote Villette? Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, Brontosaurus, or Branwell Bronte?
Oh my God.
A.
A.
D?
I'm sorry, the answer was B. Charlotte Bronte.
I knew it.
I had no idea.
It could have been any of the Brontes, really.
Yeah.
It was a Jess question because I don't know.
You don't know.
There's a Charlotte Bronte exhibit at the Morgan Library now.
Oh?
Yeah.
What?
Where's the Morgan Library?
On Madison Avenue?
Oh,
In Manhattan.
I'm really bad with the libraries. Like, we live in, like, the city with, like, the best library system or whatever. I've still never walked into any of them.
That one's like a private one. It's like a museum-y thing, right?
No, you get
I'm
it's
thinking
like
of the
12
Morgan
bucks.
Museum.
Morgan
Yeah.
Museum. You get it. It's $12. It's
Right.
amazing. You go in and you see some shit.
That's right. It's a it's a private
It was
library.
a private
it's not part
mansion,
of
and
the
it's
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and it was gifted by J.P. Morgan.
You
to-
can't go to you go to the Met and say I only have $1 today.
Right.
Yeah, it's
It's one of those things like it's like the Frick. If you were to go to the Frick and they were just like, hey, the
right,
Frick used to frickin' live here,
right.
and he was
He
rich as
he
Frick.
still wants your money.
Is that where we get that? This guy was rich as Frick.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think
Maybe.
so.
He
He was a
Yeah,
horrible
that
human
sounds
being.
really-
Didn't he massacre a bunch of people who wanted to unionize?
Anybody who's that rich probably did do something like that. Yeah.
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Not even necessarily to get rich or even to stay rich, just for the sake
Just
of
for
it.
the sake
Yeah,
of
because
it.
how
People.
dare
Exactly.
they? Yeah, how dare
There's
they?
if you go on the tour, they talk about all of his paintings that he purchased and everything, and there's one that they describe as his most triumphant purchase.
Yeah.
Oh
Like-
God.
Yeah.
You're like, no, those words don't go together.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no,
not a-
Yeah.
no.
Why is it a triumphant
Right.
purchase?
Yeah.
Like it was a struggle, and he
They-
was able to, with a lot of money,
Overcome his lack of the painting.
how was he able to rise up and overcome with mere money?
Why
That-
is
that
there
bare
no
wall.
day
Yeah.
in honor of this triumphant purchase?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so they don't go into like why it matters that he bought it?
No.
no.
They're just like,
There's
this
like-
is his most triumphant purchase, I'm told. And then this.
That's literally.
Yeah. And then we're all like, what?
Do you guys just put those words in there just to fuck with everybody?
Right.
Just to see if somebody's paying attention in the audience?
Yeah, exactly.
I might do that. I might be
It's
like,
like, wow, that statement just turned me into a communist. Just
Yeah, with one blow.
exactly.
We're out of here.
Well, I think this was our most triumphant podcast.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to take a triumphant dump after this.
That is fitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like something that you should do somewhere else.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that sounds like I'm not sure. There's old plumbing in this building.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like getting fisted from the inside.
Oh, God. Levi, your most triumphant, disgusting remark.
And we are triumphantly 4 Mile Circus. That's at 4 Mile Circus.
Not
number
regulated
4
by the FCC, by the way.
Circus. No, we're not.
No.
Thank God.
Nope. Thank you, Internet.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, 4 Mile Circus, 4milecircus.com. Hire us to do stuff and things. Hey, Nicole, people listen to our podcast.
People do listen to our podcast, especially the beginnings of the podcast, which might have been a better time to do this bit.
Yeah, but let's do it anyway.
All right.
That was like your most like Leonard Lopate-ish.
Triumphant.
This is my most triumphant thing. So people listen to our podcast. Does anybody ever have anything to say about our podcast?
Yeah, sometimes people have thoughts on our podcast. Maybe some listeners listening right now
Oh my
have
God.
thoughts. And you know what the best place is to share your thoughts? On iTunes reviews. iTunes, plural reviews even, because iTunes, singular, is not a thing. But iTunes is, and sometimes people go on the iTunes and they leave us 5-star reviews, and that really helps with discoverability. It might help us someday to get on a chart, maybe. It definitely helps with when people are looking around for new podcasts to listen to. They might come across ours if you all keep giving us 5-star reviews. Like, for instance, Robot Chef 10 gave us a review recently that we really appreciate. Hi, Robot Chef 10. Wherever you are, thank you. We're very touched. Robot Chef says that our podcast is funny and helpful.
Oh,
With an exclamation point.
Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
And Robot,
How many exclamation points?
Just one. So it's sincere. It's not just
okay.
like,
It's
oh,
not
I'm
like,
just throwing them everywhere.
A
Right?
plus 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 plus.
Yeah, no. Funny
Would listen
and helpful.
again.
Yeah, Robot Chef 10 says that, and says this is it says must have practical guides to using social media in the creative professions. Also very funny. Thanks, Robot Chef 10.
It's great.
Yeah, so
Great. That's super. But I do have a question.
yeah.
Is Robot Chef a chef who cooks robots or a chef who cooks for robots?
No.
Or a robot.
Or a robot that cooks for people.
That's
That's
my vote.
just a dumb idea.
No,
that
no,
doesn't
no.
make any sense at all.
This
It's
is
a cookbook.
Robots can't cook.
This is literally the argument Sean and I had like 2 days ago. We really had this conversation. I said, no.
I'm glad we
obviously-
can recreate it for today.
Well, thank you for being on my side. I'm like, I believe that Robot Chef 10 is a robot who is also a chef.
Yeah.
I think Robot Chef 10 needs to let us know
Yeah.
whether that's like leaving us a comment on our Facebook, which is 4 Mile Circus, our Twitter, which is 4 Mile Circus, or on
Instagram.
On the Instagram.
Just
which
comment
is also
on a
4 Mile
random
Circus.
Instagram post. We want to
Yeah.
hear from you, Robot Chef 10. We
Just
want to know your
tell us
story.
your Robot Chef 10 and why you're a robot chef. Are you a robot chef because you are a robot who is a chef? Do you cook for robots or do you cook robots? What kind of thing? I need to know.
We need to know. This has been an ongoing topic of conversation. Please settle the score.
If it's not settled, like everything may fall apart. And I don't mean the business. The business will be fine. I'm talking about like the world may fall apart. Right. You saw 2016. If we don't know what happens, 2017 could be even worse. I don't know.
It's true.
I can't handle it.
So now we know where people can find us, Robot Chef 10 or others can find us on the internet. But what about these two? Can they be found on the internet?
Are you on the internet?
I think we might be. We have a lisahammer.com. We have Twitters that are Levi is Evil and Lady Lisa Terror. We have Facebooks that are the Lisa Hammer and Radiana Music.
Radiana Music. I'm also at Levi is Evil on Instagram, which apparently is much easier to deal with.
Yeah. We're on VHX. We're on YouTube. Lisa Hammer on YouTube has the Maybe Sunshine series. And
I'm just going to say that if you're interested at all in seeing random pictures of our cat, you will want to follow me at this very second.
she's adorable. She's a Himalayan with a little brachycephalic face.
Yeah. And she's a complete douche.
She's a diva.
And she's 15, but she doesn't look a day over 7.
Drop the mic.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And next time we're going to have, actually, we know what we're going to have next time.
Who are we going to interview next time, or who is
Interview.
going? I mean, Ashley Blackwell's our next interview, right?
Oh, no. I mean, who's going to be next on the show?
Oh, next on the show is going to be Jocelyn Linder.
Jocelyn Linder,
I believe.
who is an author.
Author of The Family Gene.
Which is coming out next month, March 15th. And so that's going to be super exciting. And those are some really fun episodes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I have an idea for your show.
Great.
Tell us.
Get like a truck or like a Pope mobile with like a glass encasement, and then
like
put
this.
the podcast on the truck and drive around looking for famous people that are just trying to do their grocery shopping and stop them and make them talk to you.
I think that's
You
a
might
good
need to
idea.
crowdfund for that.
Crowdfund for our Pope-mobile
Yeah.
or our
Yeah.
Podmobile.
All right.
Pope casting.
Sponsored by Pod.
Why doesn't the Pope should do a Pope cast?
I think so.
He probably does.
He does
Probably,
it. It's at the Vatican. He talks all the time.
So, the Pope from the
It's
Vatican.
just pontificating.
Oh God.
Didn't he released a rock album?
Pontificating.
Yeah, that was.
He released a rock album or something, didn't he?
Something like that.
He and Bernie Sanders have a lot in common, I think.
Yeah, they're both like short old guys with,
exactly.
with no hair.
Yeah.
And great
And
ideas.
and somehow have released albums.
Bernie Sanders
Bernie
has an
Sanders
album?
has an
yes,
album.
he
Yes.
does.
Because I knew about the Jill Stein
Jill Stein has-
abomination.
Yeah.
I don't
This
know.
is from
what
like the 90s.
Yeah.
Like she was.
I don't wanna
Imagine
know.
what kind of band Jill Stein would be.
I
in.
don't want to
Maybe
know.
like a Sweetwater kind of thing.
I
guys
don't want to think
Gotta
about
listen
it.
to the Bernie album.
What is it?
It's him talking.
It's literally him, like he's singing like
He's singing?
He's singing like folk songs, but you know Bernie Sanders doesn't sing, so it's really more like kind of a
This
rapish
land is
thing.
your land.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
Dude,
From California, it's amazing,
I want this.
fucking incredible.
I need this.
I can see him gesturing at people in a
Right,
very
exactly.
violent
Like
way.
he's accusing people basically.
This
land,
land
is my land.
Your land.
Exactly.
This land is my land. All right. And
Into
on
it.
that note, this land is everybody's land.
This land was made for you and me.
Okay.
And we will talk to you all next time.
Bye.
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 If you like what you heard, please subscribe on iTunes or your podcast platform of choice, and check out other 4 Mile Circus services and projects at 4milecircus.com, as well as 4 Mile Circus on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Watch our first VOD release, Nicole's award-winning feminist phone sex horror comedy Small Talk, at 4milecircus.com/store,